Welcome to the Nutrition Collaborative podcast, where we cut through the noise, bust the myths, and bring you nothing but truth about health, fitness, and everything in between. I'm Alec Moore, dietitian, and each week we'll dive into what really works when it comes to achieving lasting health and fitness. No gimmicks, no BS, just real talk, real success stories, and a holistic approach to living your healthiest life. Whether you're here for practical tips, inspiration from real client journeys, or just to find out what's actually worth your time, this is the podcast for you. Let's break it down, get empowered, and focus on what truly matters for your health. Most people hear the word ketones and immediately think keto diet, low carb, MCT oil in coffee, butter in coffee, no bread. But that's not what we're talking about today on the topic of ketones. And specifically not the ones that your body make naturally. The ketogenic diet helps you produce. The thing about that, the ketogenic diet makes you produce endogenous ketones. But what we're talking about today is exogenous ketones, not the ketones that require your body to be in a ketogenic state to create. So this is coming from a supplemental form, aka or a pill form. But today specifically, we're talking about a drink. And so today we're also going to dive into why I'm talking about these, of course, and why I'm bringing them up all of a sudden. Because if you have been a follower of me, you know that I'm against the ketogenic diet, especially for those looking for high performance, right? High performance athletes. But I have come across some exogenous ketones, and these, exogenous ketones are not anything new. They are newer, yes, but they have been around for some years. Think of your BHB. If you've ever heard of BHB, you know that is an exogenous ketone and has been in many products for many years. But now, with science, we're starting to shift into an understanding of ketones that are a little bit different from what we've normally known them as and known them for. And so with this episode, we're not, I'm going to rephrase, I'm not talking about the ketogenic diet. This is not endogenous ketones. Those who are listening and are curious about high performance and ketogenic diet, you're not going to learn about that here, because I am strongly against the ketogenic diet for anyone performing in any sport. But there are many benefits of the ketogenic diet, such as ketone production, that benefit your brain's health, performance, capacity, sharpness, clarity, and resilience through fatigue, aka performance. So when we ignore endogenous ketones and we look at exogenous ketones, we don't have to suffer our way into this ketogenic state. We can consume 12 to 24 to 36 grams of it a day, ideally between probably 12 and 24, exogenously, to help benefit the brain and give you all the benefits that the brain would receive from the ketogenic diet without actually having to do it. It almost sounds like a cheat code, and it very well may be. This seriously may be where the future is in sports performance. Because when we look at the difference between exogenous and endogenous, exogenous still produce the same ketones that have the same effect on your brain without having to go super low carb and get into a ketogenic state and go through the keto flu and have those symptoms and feel like junk just to get you into that ketogenic state. Because if you've ever tried keto, you know that feeling several weeks in when you are fully keto adapted and you get that feeling of, wow, I feel clear, I feel sharp, one, you've probably never been in a deficit before, or a significant one. So you're probably getting a lot of benefits from the deficit, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about the ketone production from it. All those benefits for the brain that you feel in that moment of being keto adapted, you can get exogenously while still eating high carb and not actually going into a ketotic state. Crazy, right? So how does this make sense for, performance? Where am I going with the whole performance side? Well, if you are a high performing athlete and you're consuming a high carbohydrate diet, which you should be if you are high performing, and you have to exert a lot of energy each day in your practice and your training and in your events and your matches, your games, etc., there will come a time where you become, no matter what you consume, no matter what you hydrate, no matter how well you sleep and recover, that your fatigue sets in. Decision fatigue or decision-making skills diminish over the span of a 7-game series, or a very hot summer of 2-a-days, or in a golf match on holes 16, 17, 18, or in a hockey match at the very end, or I could keep going. All different sports, eventually fatigue plays a role. And to me, the performance edge in any fatigue-inducing sport, or basically, therefore, any sport, get to a point where you can only have a capacity of critical thinking and quick decision-making, smart decision-making to help your team win, or if it's an individual sport or whatever, then help you win over your opponent. I'm saying it right now. I think in the next decade, ketones are going, and maybe even sooner than a decade, our ketones are going to be the performance edge for anything that requires mental resilience in sports, because they directly work with the neurons in your brain very efficiently. And when they do it way quicker than glucose and with less byproduct, less inflammatory byproduct. So yeah, you can absolutely be carb fueled and take exogenous ketones and get the benefit from them. So you can still be the high performing athlete from the high carbohydrate nutritional intake, be well fed from that, have your glycogen stores full, and not be suffering through the ketogenic diet just to get those benefits. And it adds a layer. It doesn't replace carbs. It's adding another layer. So you are physically sharp and prepared, and mentally sharp and prepared as well. The timing is important, of course, and that can be something we talk about later. I just want to reiterate that we're literally adding a layer of an entire performance edge to your game by adding exogenous ketones on top of a strategic, proper nutritional diet. And that's why it's so powerful. So as fatigue starts to build through whatever sport or event you're doing or playing, neuronal glucose metabolism drops in the brain, and the brain becomes energy limited at that point. You know, when you're late in the game or it's fourth quarter and you feel like you're just not as sharp, as resilient, and your decision making might be a little slowed, or motor recruitment is delayed. It could even be a split second. It might not be something that you're particularly noticing until you get it resolved, or you have that extra edge. So mental fog, reduced motor coordination, decreased reaction speed, and like I said, slower decision making. At the end of the day, this is where games or matches are won or lost. In real competitiveness, we're not talking about games where it's 48-0, right? We're talking about where it's 7-7 going into the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. Decision making, reaction speed, mental acuity and sharpness, clarity is essential in those moments to gain that upper edge in performance. So your legs may not have given out yet, but your decision making has. And so this is where ketones enter the neurons via the MCT2 transporter, which is a different transporter than glucose, and bypass insulin resistance, supplying fast, clean fuel when your brain is literally struggling for it to be from glucose. And so long workouts, hot environments, tournaments with multiple matches or like a series of games, or when you are under recovered or sleep deprived, those instances are when decision making can become very hard. The brain can become less resilient and performance can suffer, even if it's just a little bit, right? So I think it's crazy that I have been so against it for so long. And when you look at the research, you can literally see studies showing, we have Mark Mattson, 2025, we have Antal et al. 2025, showing ketones preserve brain network stability, they reduce oxidative stress, and keep conduction velocity up, even under stress or glucose impairment, or when glycogen stores are completely tanked at the end of an event, when you've just burnt through everything, you've got nothing left, but you have to give everything right when it matters the most. What is that extra edge? And we can cheat code our way there without actually cheating. You know, this is not just for some of those sports that I had mentioned before. So let me give a couple examples here. So CrossFit and HIIT style workouts, right? Better coordination and clarity in later rounds. Football, basketball, soccer, split second decisions in the fourth quarter. We have combat sports even, right? I don't know if you've ever just been wrestling around with your friends, even for a couple of minutes, you realize how incredibly gassed you can get in such a short amount of time of anything combat or fighting. So this will give you mental resilience when you're absolutely golf and tennis. Those are very, very big focus games, focus athletics. So this gives you composure. Exogenous ketones can give you composure and enhanced focus deeper into those later rounds on the back nine in the match. For cycling and for runners, it can help you tap into proper pacing, breathing, form control in later miles for longer races. And really, again, when it matters the most, when your brain doesn't want to run anymore. So, the goal here is not just to be back to baseline in the fourth quarter. This is to give you an even greater edge above your component as they start slipping. So, this is less about how to properly fuel or, power output. What we're really talking about here in athletics and really any sports performance is the mental side and the mental sharpness, clarity, acuity, resilience, basically cognitive endurance when the body and mind just want to shut down in sports. So, and today's obviously very performance heavy. So we've been talking a lot about performance, and what exogenous ketones can do for performance. But let's not overlook if that's the case, then let's transfer that to regular daily life. And that's why I think you're going to see a lot of more powerful, impactful lifestyle brands in the ketone space as we move forward, not just the performance side. Because it could literally make you better at video games. It could literally make you better on Fridays in your career, right? Think of resilience and fatigue. Okay, say you're a traveling entrepreneur. You go to 3 to 4 different cities a week. I work with many of those types of people, and by Thursday or Friday, they're zapped. Their nervous system is zapped, and they need to be sharp for those Thursday, Friday meetings because that could be a big client for them, or that could be a big business decision for them. Why not have the upper edge? I'm telling you right now, this is crazy stuff. and you're going to see it. You're going to see it blow up. I've predicted things like this before, and I don't want to talk or take all the credit. I've talked to lots of people in the space with ketones, and they're saying the same thing. And we're seeing it already day to day in our clients and our athletes, in those in the performance setting, utilizing ketones exogenously. So we're in the midst of it, I think. And it's really cool to see because it was a once, stigma based thing. And most people looked at it negatively, including myself. But when you have an open mind and you realize that it's not the ketogenic state that we're hyping up right now, we're talking specifically about the byproduct of it, ketones, and what they do for the brain, even in properly, sufficiently, adequately nourished individuals in sports and athletics. It's wild. And fun fact, I'm sipping on a can right now of exogenous ketones. Believe it or not, even in the day-to-day lifestyle of things, you can benefit. It is a Monday morning. My coffee woke me up, but not to the point that I really want to get this week started with. So I'm drinking exogenous ketones. And ever since I started drinking it, I've been locked in. So it's not replacing caffeine. It's not replacing carbohydrates. It's not replacing good night's sleep. It's not replacing all the things that you do with a healthy lifestyle for great performance. It's adding an extra layer into your performance, not replace anything, but upgrade. And to me, if it comes down to decision making at the end of a game, or match or whatever the case is, to me, I want to take any advantage over that I possibly can. If I'm going to go, this is random. If I'm going to go into an interview with a new employer and I want to absolutely wow them, I'm going to take exogenous ketones. If I know that I have a bout of travel and the first day after the travel, I've got this big day at work, or I've got this big presentation or something, what am I going to do? Probably take exogenous ketones on top of the sleep, on top of the hydration, on top of everything else, because of the sharpness and clarity and the focus. It can get so enhanced, and you can get so honed in on something that, and here's the thing though, it's not stimulant. This performance boosting effect is not like this big wave of jittery fuel. It's just your neurons working more efficiently and producing less inflammatory byproduct or oxidative stress when consumed. We fuel and train our bodies so much, but we miss the mark, I think, on the mental side. So you can keep your carbs, you can keep your performance nutrition, you can keep your hydration where it's at, your sleep where it's at. You can keep all of these things in place. You do not have to eliminate anything and still tap into a fuel source that powers your brain so efficiently and strongly to give you that upper edge to beat your opponent when it matters the most. And that's the story. I do think that over the next decade, and much less of that for sure, but over the next decade, we're going to see ketones as a regular daily use thing by high performing athletes and high level athletes due to the significant benefits directly and when it matters most. So what I'm drinking today is called Kinetic. And that kinetic is like kinetic energy, but spelled a little bit differently. And that's Kenetik. Believe it or not, I have actually partnered with this company because I believe in exogenous ketones so strongly right now and what it's doing for me on a daily basis. So if you want to give exogenous ketones a try, then this episode is for you to first learn about it. I want you to learn about exogenous ketones and what they can do and, kind of, I guess, help you distinguish between endogenous and exogenous ketones. But here's your chance to try them out. We do have a code, and fun fact, they're coming out with new products very soon. It's not just the carbonated beverages that have 12 grams of ketones per can. There are other products coming soon. So stay tuned for that. You can go to Ketones.com or click on the link in my bio and use our code at checkout for a discount on every single order. And the code is all caps, all one word, NutriCollab. That is NutriCollab. NutriCollab for 15% off at checkout on all Kinetic products. You will not be disappointed, and I can guarantee it's going to help you if it's your halftime drink, your drink at hole 10 or 11 on the golf course, if you're 3 rounds into a 5-round fight, and so much more, even for those just working at their desk each and every day. It's not only for the athlete. It's not only beneficial for the athlete, but it will benefit you no matter what your performance needs are. And let me know. I mean, when you guys try this stuff, let me know what you think. Let me know if you're getting the mental boost that I'm getting, the clarity that I'm getting, the mental performance that I'm getting, and the resilience that I'm getting. Because I'm feeling pretty strong about this one, or else I would not have partnered with the company. So give them a try. Let me know your thoughts and tag me in a story talking about it. I'd love to hear your feedback. And when you do that, but tell me your sport or tell me your lifestyle so that I can understand more about your specifics so we can use that feedback and that data as we move forward with this massive wave we're entering, the power of the supplements of ketones from exogenous sources, not the endogenous ketogenic diet. I hope this helps, and I'm eager for y'all to try. And I can't wait to see where this goes in the next few years with ketones as in sports performance in the sense that you're used to hearing. Until next time, this is Alec Moore, and you've been listening to the Nutrition Collaborative podcast. Thanks for tuning in.